Well, let's get going, and we'll save number 1 for last. Hopefully the other 2 councillors make it here. Number 2, Heritage Kitchener recommendation with respect to 1255, 1291 Fisher-Hallman Road. Councillor Yanitzky, I think you're on that committee, are you not? You're on Heritage? Or, oh, sorry, actually, Councillor Gazzola was...
I will move the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Gazzola. Councillor Yanitzky.
I just wanted to speak to this.
Do you want to second it?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Just briefly, I have no concern regarding to this demolition at this address. It's 1979 single-family dwelling, 1975 when it was built. However, I want to make sure that there's no confusion because the address is 1255 and 1291 Fisher-Hallman Road. And we have 2 properties, 2 single-family dwellings on the same property. One built in 1979 and the other one built back in 1887. And they're both addressed as the same address. I think the confusion arises from is maybe when the developer bought it, the properties merged and somehow got this dual type of address.
Right.
Although one's facing more on Bleams, whereby the other one is more internal to the subdivision. So I just want to go on record making sure we don't demolish the wrong one.
Mr. Bensasson, is there, how will we, I think there was a question in there, and so the question I think was, how will we make sure that they don't accidentally knock down the wrong building?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we'll make sure that any demolition permit that is issued makes specific reference to the 1979 building only.
Okay, we're going to put like a big X on it or something? Kind of like we do with trees? Okay, that would probably be helpful. Councillor Galloway-Sealock.
Well, first of all, it's already clear in the report that the house circa 1887 will be retained. Seeing as it's in Ward 5 and knowing the development that's happening and having seen the draft plan of subdivision, it's really clear that the developers plan on saving the heritage home, which is not the one that they're asking to demolish. If you've been down Fisher-Hallman Road, you know that this house has minimal to no heritage value to it, and it's already in really rough shape. And so the main piece and the main heritage farmhouse is the one that is being retained, and I want to make that clear. The developers, having worked with them, are fully planning on reusing that house within this development, which they've done and shown that they've done in the past.
Any other comments? It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. We'll motion to go in camera. Moved by Councillor Fernandez, seconded by Councillor Ioannidis. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. We'll go back to item number 1. And we see the recommendation there. Questions? Councillor Davey.
Yeah, no questions. I'll move staff's recommendation.
Okay. Seconded by Councillor Singh. Just one question I have, and I know we've prioritized them 1 through 4. Staff have any sense? I'm going to ask this question 2 ways. Number 1, if we were not to include Chandler on the list, what's the alternative funding mechanism that we could use to see that go forward? Because it sounded like it was work that needed to happen. And I guess the second part of my question would be, do we run the risk of that, because that's the lowest one, that perhaps it might be the one that ends up getting selected? Well, go ahead.
Through the Mayor, in terms of the first question, an issue paper would be brought forward through budget process to look at funding options for that retrofit for that building.
Mr. Chapman, you're on.
And on the second question, recent history has shown that oftentimes lower value, lower priority projects get selected. So by leaving it on the list, there is a good chance your last priority may be the first priority for the federal government.
Okay. It's part of the reason why I asked the question that I asked. Councillor Singh.
Yeah, well, it's on the list because obviously council chose it as a priority, that it was important to all of us as a majority here, and the exercise that we took place last week. Similar to your question, Mr. Mayor, so if it's going to be part of budget, I'm assuming there's nothing in capital that's already set for any works towards the center or the outside repairs.
Mr. Reedman.
Through the mayor, it's currently not set in the capital budget at this time.
So it would have to be brought in, especially as part of a future budget discussion. Then, if there's obviously it's not chosen or there's no other funding allocation.
Through the mayor, that is correct, or reprioritized through other projects.
So what was the anticipation? Obviously, it would be, again, I may be biased in hoping that it is one that gets selected regardless, because the work that's required there is essential and necessary for that neighborhood anyways. So it's important nonetheless, how small it may be. If it wasn't, or if it isn't chosen, was a plan by staff to bring this forward as part of future budget deliberation?
Through the mayor, yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Okay. Councillor Gazzola.
Yeah, I just have a small question on page 1-2. In relation to the Kiwanis pool, it says the city percentage is 88%. What is the 500,000, 88% of what?
Yes.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we would 500,000 over the 4 million is 12%, and so the 3.5 million is would be the city's contribution to the total project. So the city would be contributing 88%, and we're asking for 12% from the federal government.
Yeah, okay, then I struggle with that 12%. Doesn't come up to $500,000. It's a little bit less. We want.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I probably rounded.
Okay, I just want to make sure if they go with that, they don't cut us off at 480,000 instead of the 500. That's all, just minor point.
Councillor Ioannidis.
Yeah, my question is regarding the application. Will this report be attached within our application? No. So there is no way of showing how council voted on something that they thought was number one, because it's clearly here, everyone here on council voted McLennan Park as number one.
Everyone except one.
Close enough.
Yeah. Well, no, that's... Mr. Chapman?
To clarify, if you're asking if we have to indicate the priorities of council, yes, we do. So in each application, we have to indicate what its relative priority was.
Okay.
Sorry, Sid, so you would?
The first question was, will this report be attached to the application? The answer to that question is no. But then I heard you asking, will council know, or will the federal government know what our priorities are? Yes, they will, because we need to indicate the relative priority.
Okay. But I guess as a follow-up to that, can we include the chart? Because I think it shows that the points say deliver a certain message as well. Like it's not just 1, 2, 3, 4 divided by 1 point each. There's a clear separation between priority 1 and then a fair gap between 2 and 3 that are close to each other, and then 4 is significantly lower. That's why I'm asking.
If that's council's direction, yeah, yes, we can look to find a way to incorporate that in some of the narrative section.
Yeah. Councillor Davey?
Sorry, just one follow-up question. I can't remember from the report, but is there anything precluding 2 of the projects to be selected? If I guess there was a concern about the community center, so is it possible they might select 2 of the projects? And in staff's recollection, has that ever happened?
Through you, Mr. Chair, not the last round, but the round before that, 2 of the 7 projects were selected, and they can choose as many as 0 or up to the 4 that we select. The chances of all 4, but they can select more than one.
Okay, that helps. Thank you.
I think the reality is there's a lot more municipalities than there is money. And this money is also accessed by not-for-profits and others as well. So that creates part of the challenge. Okay, so it has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried, with the desire to include that in the narrative as has been raised. And then motion for 3 readings. Councillor Fernandez, Councillor Schneider, all those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Motion to adjourn. Etherington Singh, all those in favor? Opposed? That's carried.